Hi everyone, my name is Herkeph and welcome back to my incredibly stupid hardcore world where I am only allowed to use wooden tools and leather armor. In today's episode, we have one main objective, and that is to complete our biggest project yet, which will be my new base. As I briefly talked about in last week's episode, the base I have in mind is a floating island with a castle on top. The reason I went for such an inconvenient base is because, again, I don't feel like I hate my life quite enough. Nonetheless, I decided to use the replay mod for once to make this build a time-lapse. Okay, that was an incredibly long time-lapse, but this is the result of it. As we can see, it's still looking very unfinished and rather plain, so I continued to do a tiny bit more detailing and put down some chests. I then flew back to my starter house to relocate all of the items that I had left there. I then got to the incredibly fun and engaging task of sorting all of my items into different chests in my new storage room. Since the task was so fun and engaging, I decided to take a break and decorate my new storage area by putting up a few walls and a proper ceiling. I also planted a tree in the center of the outside area of the castle. However, the castle still looked very unfinished and a bit plain, so I decided to surround it with a forest of oak trees. And to light everything up, I ran around and placed torches on the trees. That way, we won't get any unwelcome cannibals or calcium boys on my island. And whilst we were mob-proofing the outside of the castle walls, I decided that it might be a good idea to do the same to the roofs of our castle. Since I used mangrove wood for the roofs, I decided that the best way to spawn-proof them was to use mangrove pressure plates. However, this took significantly more time than I had anticipated, since they're really expensive to craft. And with the forest of oak trees added, the castle started looking more finished than it was before. Now, as we have the outside of the castle as well as the roofs mob-proof, the only thing left we have to do is to find a way to light up the inside of the castle walls. Unfortunately, the recording program I was using decided to go out for some milk as I was recording, which corrupted the recording file. But what I decided to do was to put some paths made out of coarse dirt and mud and put in a few fences with lanterns on top. I then started building all of the farms we wanted to have in our base. I decided to start with an iron farm, as we will always need more iron, as it's needed for a bunch of redstone stuff. However, because the island I had built was hollow, I needed to make sure to put a slab everywhere to make sure that iron golems only spawn inside of our spawning platform. The second thing I decided to build in our new base was a villager breeder. This was actually quite straightforward, as all I had to do was to connect a portal in my new base to the nether roof and transport the villagers. The third farm we wanted in our new base was a creeper farm. Yes, I am well aware that we built a fully functioning creeper farm just 2 episodes ago, and that this is a huge waste of carved pumpkins, but I decided to do it anyway, because I am a very silly and dumb little boy. And this time, I actually didn't find a way to mess up building the creeper farm, which I was rather impressed by. However, as I was building our bamboo farm, I noticed that I had forgotten to put a roof on our new creeper farm, which had caused several snow golems to die. So I spawned in a few more snow golems and put a roof on the farm. And after having finished a few farms, I realized that the inside of the island was going to be really ugly, so I decided to have all of the farms feed into the same storage area, which I could decorate slightly. The way I was intending for the farms to feed into the same storage area was by using water streams. However, in order to use water streams, I needed packed or blue ice in order for the items not to get stuck. So I flew over to an ice spike biome and grabbed some. And once I got back to the project at hand, I accidentally let a creeper explode the killing chamber of my creeper farm, which once again proved that my IQ is below that of a tired toddler by a game made for literal children. However, after a bit of trial and error, I did manage to get the water streams in place and working properly. So I started building the chest rooms, which all of the farms was going to feed into. I decided to go for andesite, since I still had a lot from when I was texturing the castle. I then got to the face-meltingly action-packed task of curing villagers and breaking their workstation over and over until they give me what I want. However, that task was a tiny bit too intense for me, so I took a break and decided to start a bit of interior decorating of one of my towers. At first, I thought the best way to get up and down was via ladder, but I quickly changed my mind as it looked very ugly, so I decided on a spiral staircase. Since we got the villager breeder up and running, there's also started spawning cats, so I decided to tame one of each variant as they show up in my base. I then realized that my villager breeder seemed to be leaking as I started finding several cases of villager infestations. Since I didn't particularly like having villagers infesting my rooftop, I decided to execute Order 66. And whilst looking for more cat variants in my base, I found yet another villager infestation in one of my towers, so I did the same as last time. And there you have it, the 7th episode of my incredibly stupid hardcore world. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.